Today is Tuesday, April 19th. What you need to know about the latest change to the national mask mandate for planes and trains and how airlines are already responding. And a near record high number of arrests at the U.S. Mexico border, right before another surge is expected. Also, the calendar says spring, but for millions of Americans, it feels a lot more like winter. We'll explain. Plus, why some of your packages may be delivered a little later than expected, who NASA says were the first humans to be holoported from Earth to space, and which card game is about to become a Netflix TV series. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, there's a major change at many airports and on airplanes starting now. For the first time in more than 14 months, you may not be required to wear a mask. A federal judge struck down the national mask mandate that affected planes, trains, buses, and other public transportation, saying the CDC was overstepping its power. The ruling left it up to individual airlines, airports, and other transportation agencies to decide what to do. Well, already the TSA said it will not enforce the mandate anymore. Also, the nation's 4 largest airlines dropped their mask requirements for domestic flights right away. Those are United, Delta, Southwest, and American. And JetBlue, Alaska, Spirit, and Frontier said they would drop their mask rules too. The Amtrak rail system also said passengers and employees will no longer have to wear masks. Remember, this comes less than a week after the CDC extended the mandate through May 3rd, saying it needed more time to look into a recent rise in COVID-19 cases. Now the Biden administration says it's reviewing this ruling to decide whether to appeal. In the meantime, the CDC is still recommending people wear their masks on public transportation. And remember, the rules could still vary depending on where you go. For example, masks are still mandatory on subway trains in New York City. As more people use at-home COVID-19 tests, some experts say more new cases are going underreported. The influential Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation estimates only 7% of positive COVID-19 cases in the U.S. are actually being detected. Already, as of this week, the U.S. has been reporting more than 37,000 new COVID-19 cases a day on average. That's up almost 40% from just 2 weeks ago. And yet, it may only be a fraction of the actual number of new cases. The experts say a lot of people using at-home tests don't report it when they test positive at home. They also blame the Omicron variant of COVID-19 for the undercount. They say that version of the virus is even less likely to show symptoms, so a lot of people don't know they should take a test even when they are contagious. So even as case counts are rising, the numbers of new hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19 in the U.S. have been going down. Russia has launched the next phase of its invasion in Ukraine, one that's been feared for a while now. Ukrainian officials say the Russian troops have started a full-scale ground war in an effort to take over Ukraine's east. They're reportedly attacking a large swath of the eastern region for more than 300 miles. But Ukraine's president said yesterday, quote, "No matter how many Russian troops are driven there, we will fight." Still, it's not just eastern Ukraine that's under attack. Russia also bombarded a western city near Poland that until now has been mostly spared from the worst fighting. In fact, it's been a haven for many people fleeing the front lines of war. And southern Ukraine and several other parts of the country are still considered targets. To help, 4 American cargo flights arrived this week with more weapons and other supplies for Ukraine. And Ukrainian personnel will start getting trained on American-made equipment in the next few days. Also, President Biden is scheduled to hold a video call this morning with allies and partners, once again, to talk about Ukraine. To be continued. Arrests on the U.S. Mexico border have reached their highest point in 20 years. New government data shows the U.S. has made more than 1 million arrests at the southern border just in the last 6 months. March alone was the busiest month in 2 decades, with another 210,000 arrests. That's up 24% from March of last year. And those are just people who were taken into custody. So what's fueling the surge right now? Well, the March numbers included a sharp rise in people coming from Cuba and Ukraine because of an economic crisis in Cuba and the war in Ukraine. Overall, migrant numbers could go up a lot more next month when the Biden administration plans to relax some strict rules at the border. Remember, the White House is lifting the rule that's been in place since the start of the pandemic that's let border officials turn away undocumented adults without giving them a hearing. Without that rule, border crossings are expected to spike even more. Biden administration officials say they're preparing for a worst-case scenario that would mean triple the number of people crossing each day. Stay tuned. A rare late-season snowstorm is barreling through the Northeast and New England. Nearly 8 million Americans are now under winter storm warnings and advisories. They're dealing with heavy snow, strong winds, and some coastal flooding. Oh, and on top of that, very cold temperatures, like 15 to 20 degrees below normal for this time of year. The winter weather started last night, and it's expected to last through about noon today. When all is said and done, a lot of people will be left with several inches of snow, and some places will get up to a foot of snow. It likely won't stick around for very long, though. Meteorologists expect spring warmth will make a comeback in just a few days, as in 70-degree temperatures and sunny skies by the weekend. More news is coming up, but first, a quick break for our sponsor. If you're in need of loungewear that looks and feels good, then you're going to love Tommy John. You can feel cozy, but not lazy, in new elevated women's and men's loungewear from Tommy John. I'm talking about high-quality, breathable, super soft and comfortable fabric that hangs just right. In fact, you know that feeling when your favorite loungewear is in the dirty laundry and nothing else is really what you want to wear? That's how I feel about my Tommy John lounge joggers. So now I have 2 pairs. And in addition to the joggers, they also have cozy and stylish bralettes, leggings, pajama sets, and more. Plus, returns and exchanges are free with Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee. And right now, it's Tommy John's anniversary month, so whether you're trying them for the very first time or a longtime fan like me, get 25% off site-wide right now at TommyJohn.com/newsworthy. Go to TommyJohn.com/newsworthy today for 25% off. TommyJohn.com/newsworthy. See the site for details. You may have to wait just a little longer to get some of the packages you're expecting in the mail. Starting May 1st, the U.S. Postal Service plans to slow down delivery times for nearly a third of first-class packages. It won't be a huge difference in delivery time, just a delay of a day or two. And USPS says it'll only impact some packages traveling long distances. But it's not the only change coming. And this is part of a bigger plan announced last year to cut back certain services and raise shipping rates over the next decade in order for the USPS to save money. This latest move will allow the Postal Service to use more trains and trucks to deliver packages instead of relying on an air network, which it says is more expensive and less reliable. Remember the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill that passed last year? Well, as the money now funds bridges, highways, water pipes, broadband, internet, and more, there's new guidance for all those construction projects. The Biden administration told federal agencies to make sure the iron, steel, and other materials used are produced in the United States. It's meant to make sure taxpayer dollars for these projects support American manufacturing. The hope is that it'll help create more jobs, ease global supply chain issues, and reduce America's reliance on China and other countries. That said, there are exceptions now. The rules may be waived if there aren't enough producers in the U.S. of a certain material, or if using the American-made material would increase a project's cost by more than 25%. The rules go into effect on May 14th. A team of medical experts were the first humans to ever be holoported from Earth to space. Yep, NASA sent some doctors to the International Space Station as 3D holograms. And pictures of the holograms taken on board the ISS make it kind of look like the doctors were really there. The team used Microsoft's mixed reality headset and a personal computer with custom software. This type of technology reconstructs, compresses, and transmits live 3D models of people and allows for these live conversations even worlds apart. And NASA says it's the first time the tech has been used in such an extreme and remote environment like space. This actually happened in October of last year, but NASA just announced it and now says this technology will be used more in the future to both send holograms to space and to place astronauts' holograms back on Earth. 2 popular games are going to Hollywood. First, the silly card game called Exploding Kittens. Netflix says it's going to launch an Exploding Kittens TV show, and with it, a new mobile game that you'll be able to play by yourself or with friends. The new game is launching next month for free for Netflix subscribers, and the animated TV series is expected to come out next year. Also in the works, a live-action Minecraft movie. As Variety reports, Aquaman star Jason Momoa is in talks to be part of it, and the director from Napoleon Dynamite has already signed on. The movie will be based on the massively popular Minecraft video game, which is the best-selling game of all time. These 2 projects are actually part of a recent trend. Just in the last year, a couple of hit gaming movies have come out, Free Guy and Sonic 2. So we could see even more as long as they keep being popular. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Do you ever notice that the stress in your life can show up in ways you may not have expected? Think doom scrolling, sleeping too little or too much, or eating too little or too much. Yes, stress can show up in all kinds of ways. And in a world that's telling you to do more all the time, let this be a reminder to take care of yourself and do less sometimes. And maybe try some therapy. I know from experience that therapy can offer you a much-needed reminder that it is okay to not be productive all of the time, and help you react to stress in a different, more useful way. Well, BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can give it a try. See if online therapy can help lower your stress. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and the Newsworthy listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/newsworthy. That's BETTERHELP, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. Today's trivia question is, which of Shakespeare's plays is the longest? You can answer the question and play along on Instagram. Just find and follow us at NewsworthyPod. And look for the trivia quiz in our Instagram stories today. As for last week's trivia question, how many eyes does a bee have? The answer is 5. And with those 5 eyes, scientists say they have great sight. They can spot predators coming from up above, and they see colors differently than humans. Unlike us, bees see in the ultraviolet spectrum, making flowers easier to spot even from far away. And that's important since bees feed on nectar and pollen, so they visit about 1,500 flowers a day. By the way, bees are important for us, too, especially honeybees. They're the only kind of insect that produces food that humans eat. But on average, each honeybee can only make about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. All right, thank you so much for listening today and making us part of your routine. Before you go, I do want to tell you about another podcast that can help you learn about different groundbreaking women from throughout history that you may not have heard about before. And you just need 5 minutes a day with this podcast from Wonder Media Network. It's called Womanica. Each month, Womanica focuses on a different theme from storytellers to troublemakers. And this month, you can tune in to learn more about eco-warriors with special guests like Aaron Brockovich. And last month's episodes focused on innovators. Think the inventor of the dishwasher. Tune in to Womanica every weekday along with the Newsworthy, wherever you listen to podcasts. And with that, we'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.